Look like Caitlyn Clark could be returning this week after all. Guys, for this one here,
breaking news out of Indiana. The Fever just made a roster move that has the whole WNBA buzzing.
I'm telling you, when Caitlyn gets back, it's going to be scary from a backcourt standpoint because the two of them with the ball in their hands, without the ball.
That's a threat.
And as a post player, your eyes have to light up. Because if there's that much attention from the backcourt,
they're going to find you.
If you set screens, if you set early drags in transition, sky's the limit of what you all are.
The WNBA is on the edge of its seat right now. Could Caitlyn Clark finally be coming back? The Indiana Fever just made a jaw-dropping roster move that has everyone talking, and it's sending fans into a frenzy.
August 18th, 2025, according to the WNBA transactions page, the Indiana Fever released Kyra Lambert. So if that is indeed the end of Kyra Lambert's Indiana Fever tenure, it did not last very long. It was just last week we were figuring out who Kyra Lambert was and what her signing meant.
Is this a master plan, or are they just desperate? Stick with us as we uncover the truth behind the move, why it's got the entire league on alert, and what it means for the Fever's playoff hopes. Trust me, this is the update you've been waiting for. The Indiana Fever just shocked the WNBA world by releasing Kyra Lambert. On the surface, it might seem like a small move, barely making a dent in the sports headlines. But trust me, this is far from ordinary. Lambert played only 1 minute across 2 games this season.
Kyra Maxwell, and she didn't even get a thank you post. She didn't even get a thank you post from the Indiana Fever. They didn't even get a thank you, Kyra Maxwell. She didn't get a thank you post. But yeah, a lot of people are celebrating this because they think that Caitlyn Clark...
Not exactly the kind of player you build your team around. So why make the cut now, in the middle of such a crucial stretch for the Fever? Here's the thing. In a league as competitive as the WNBA, you don't make roster moves like this unless you've got something bigger planned. And that's exactly where the buzz starts. Fans and insiders are all pointing to one obvious conclusion. This could be a sign that Caitlyn Clark is finally making her return. With one roster spot now open, the timing couldn't be more perfect. But what's really going on behind the scenes? Could Clark's comeback be closer than we all thought?
I know Rudy from Come On Now the podcast. Shout out to Rudy. Rudy did a whole entire video breaking down what Holly Rose said. Is Caitlyn Clark coming back within the next week or so? I personally wouldn't bring her back against the Minnesota Lynx, but also, depending on the severity of Sophie Cunningham's injury, I might not bring her back, period, for the rest of the season. I might play if Sophie can't come back, if it's not serious, then maybe we are talking about Caitlyn Clark coming back. I did say when she went down and this period of time started to get longer and longer and longer and longer, by the time she's cleared, if we're...
Or is there something else at play here? The Fever's decision to part ways with Lambert is raising more questions than answers, and it's got the entire league on high alert. Now, let's talk about the timing of this move, because that's where things really get interesting. The Indiana Fever didn't need to release Kyra Lambert right now. They could have made this decision weeks ago, yet they waited until the middle of a critical season stretch. Why? It's all about the bigger picture, and it's impossible to ignore the looming question. Is Caitlyn Clark finally ready to return? The Fever are staring down 2 of their biggest games of the season against the Minnesota Lynx, the league's top team. If there was ever a time to shake things up and bring in your star player, it's now. But here's the thing. Putting Clark back into the lineup right now feels risky. She's been sidelined with that nagging groin injury for months, and rushing her back could backfire. Still, with playoff hopes on the line and the team clawing for a spot, the Fever can't afford to wait much longer.
Return by the end of the season. The question is, when? Are we really bringing her back against the Minnesota Lynx? Would that be the smartest idea? No, not really. Not really. Let's take a look. The Indiana Fever have been playing through the 2025 season under head coach Stephanie White. Indiana is led by Caitlyn Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, and several other stars. While they have one of the best rosters in the league, they've been missing Clark. Clark has missed a majority of the season, currently working through a groin injury. The last time Clark was on the floor was a matchup against the Connecticut Sun on July 16th, while the Fever were on a 3-game win streak. It's been over a month.
The open roster spot is too convenient, and the stakes are too high to ignore. This move isn't just a roster change. It feels like a sign of something much bigger brewing behind the scenes. The question is, what's Indiana planning, and is Caitlyn Clark really coming back sooner than we expected? Caitlyn Clark's absence has been felt deeply by the Fever all season long. The star guard has been sidelined with a groin injury, and her impact has been missed every single game. Last time she stepped on the court was back on July 16th in a win against the Connecticut Sun, and since then, the Fever have had to rely on the likes of Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Sophie Cunningham to carry the load. Despite their efforts, it's been clear that no one on this roster can shift the momentum like Clark can. Without her, Indiana has managed to climb back up to the 6th spot in the standings, but it's been a bumpy ride. The team has done well to hang in there. But let's be honest, if they want to make any noise in the playoffs, they need their franchise player back on the floor. And the Fever know this. The front office has to know that Clark is the one who can change the course of their season. No one else on that roster can create the kind of game-changing moments that Clark can. But here's the real question. Is it smart to rush her back into the lineup now? Against Minnesota, the Lynx are sitting at the top of the standings with a 28-5 record, and it's clear they're a juggernaut. Throwing Clark into that kind of environment might be asking for trouble. Baptism by fire, as they say. It's a tough spot for the Fever, and while her return could be the key to their playoff hopes, it's not without major risk. If they're going to make this move, they need to be smart about it. So, when will Clark return? That's the million-dollar question, and it's one that the Fever, their fans, and the entire league are all anxiously waiting to find out. As soon as the Indiana Fever made the move to release Kyra Lambert, WNBA fans and insiders alike went into overdrive. Social media exploded with speculation, and everyone from casual fans to seasoned reporters started connecting the dots. The feverish online reaction shows just how much Clark's return would impact not just Indiana, but the entire league. The WNBA is starved for storylines that move the needle, and Clark has quickly become the league's most electrifying draw. But here's where things get a little out of hand. Fans have been throwing out wild theories left and right. Some believe the Fever might sign Kennedy Carter, but that's already off the table. She just signed elsewhere. Others are convinced this roster change is Indiana's way of covering up a lingering injury to Sophie Cunningham. But when you take a step back and look at the facts, it's clear where the pieces are leading. Lambert's release wasn't a casual roster move. It was a calculated decision that has everyone thinking the same thing. Caitlyn Clark's return might be closer than expected. The Fever pitch of speculation doesn't just stop with fans. It's also creeping into the media. Every insider worth their salt is trying to uncover any clue about Clark's status. But so far, the Fever have remained eerily quiet. No cryptic tweets from the team's social media, no updates from Clark herself, just a sea of silence. That silence, however, is the loudest thing of all. In a league where every move is analyzed to death, the lack of information only fuels the fire. It's the perfect storm for speculation to run rampant. And right now, no one knows whether this is part of a grand plan or just a desperate play to salvage the season. But one thing's for sure, the WNBA is watching closely, and so are we. Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture here. The Indiana Fever have managed to claw their way back into the playoff hunt despite missing their star player for most of the season. At this moment, they're sitting in the 6th spot, an impressive feat given how rough things looked earlier in the year. But let's be real. Without Caitlyn Clark, they are walking a tightrope. The team's success so far has been largely fueled by a collective effort from players like Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Sophie Cunningham. However, there's only so much they can do. The Fever are clearly in a position where every game counts, and with the brutal stretch ahead, back-to-back games against the Minnesota Lynx, followed by tough matchups against Seattle, the Sparks, and Phoenix. This isn't the time for Indiana to stay stagnant or play it safe. They need a game-changer on the court. Someone who can spark that energy and create the kind of plays that can flip the script in their favor. And Clark is the one player capable of doing that. Let's not sugarcoat it. Without Clark, the Fever simply don't have the same firepower. Her ability to score, to create for others, and to command attention from defenses is unmatched. It's what separates her from the rest of the roster. While the team has done well to hold down the fort, it's clear they need Clark's magic if they want to make a real playoff run. The front office knows it, the coaching staff knows it, and most importantly, the fans know it. The question now is, when will she be ready to return? And will it be enough to keep their playoff dreams alive? Time is ticking, And with every passing game, the urgency only grows. As much as fans want to believe that this roster move signals Caitlyn Clark's imminent return, there's a deeper layer to this story that's impossible to ignore. Could this whole thing be more about hope than strategy? Sure, releasing Kyra Lambert opened up a roster spot, but let's not kid ourselves. Lambert wasn't exactly a cornerstone of the Fever's plans. Her limited role this season, playing only 1 minute in 2 games, shows that she wasn't a rotation player the team was counting on. The real question is why Indiana waited so long to make this move. Why now? The answer, in all likelihood, is that they're hoping this roster shakeup will create a sense of momentum, a false sense of security that will distract fans and media from the real issues at play. Yes, releasing Lambert raises expectations for Clark's return, but what does it actually solve? It doesn't fix the glaring holes in the Fever's depth, nor does it guarantee Clark's readiness for a high-stakes comeback. If anything, this move feels like a quick fix, an attempt to build hype and give fans something to rally behind, while the bigger questions remain unanswered. Let's not forget the internal chaos that has plagued the Fever all season. Between unclear decisions from the front office and tensions within the coaching staff, it's easy to see why some fans are skeptical. They've seen the team mismanage rotations, fail to develop players, and struggle in big moments. Now, with Clark's return hanging in the balance, every move feels amplified, and the pressure to get it right is sky high. If the Fever mismanage this return, the backlash could be brutal. This isn't just a roster move. It's a test of the franchise's ability to manage the situation and deliver on the promise they've made to their fans. And if this is just another desperate attempt to keep hope alive, it could backfire in ways that the Fever can't afford. Let's take a moment to talk about the elephant in the room. Caitlyn Clark is not just a player, she's a cultural phenomenon. Her presence on the court changes everything. Not just for the Indiana Fever, but for the entire WNBA. The league has been desperately trying to break into mainstream consciousness for years, and Caitlyn Clark is the player who can make that happen. Whether you love her or hate her, one thing is undeniable. When Clark steps on the floor, eyes are on her, and that draws in viewers, fans, and media attention like no one else. Her ability to dominate a game and turn it into a highlight reel is exactly what the WNBA needs to gain the kind of attention that can change the trajectory of the league. We're talking about a player who can fill arenas, boost ticket sales, and elevate TV ratings. The league knows it, the fans know it, and so does the Fever. Without her, they are just another mid-tier team fighting for a playoff spot. With her, they become a contender that everyone will be talking about. But here's the catch. Caitlyn Clark's return isn't just about basketball, it's about business. It's about keeping the WNBA relevant and in the spotlight, especially in a season where star power is more important than ever. If Indiana can bring her back at the right time, the entire league will benefit. ESPN will run Clark highlights on loop. Social media will explode with excitement, and fans will flock to arenas hoping to witness her magic firsthand. But if they mishandle this return, it could have the opposite effect, souring the hype and leaving fans and media questioning whether the league is too reliant on one player to drive its success. The Fever know that if they're going to stay relevant in a season filled with uncertainty, Caitlyn Clark's return has to be nothing short of spectacular. And the pressure is mounting, because when she returns, it won't just be the Fever who feel the impact. It's going to shake the entire WNBA to its core. As the Fever's decision looms, it's impossible to ignore the massive ripple effect Caitlyn Clark's return will have on the entire WNBA. This isn't just about one player coming back. This is about a franchise, a league, and an entire fan base holding their breath. The impact of Clark's return won't be confined to the Fever. It will send shockwaves through every team in the league. From strategy adjustments to playoff hopes, every team will need to reevaluate their game plan the moment she steps back on the court. Let's be real. When Clark is on the floor, defenses collapse, the spacing opens up, and players who may otherwise blend into the background suddenly become stars. Her ability to draw double teams and create opportunities for her teammates is unmatched, making everyone around her better. It's a game changer for Indiana, but it's also a challenge for every other team in the WNBA. The other squads have had months to prepare for the Fever without Clark, but now they'll have to adjust quickly to deal with her dynamic presence once again. And the media, well, they'll be eating it up. ESPN and sports networks will be clamoring for every moment of Clark's return, making it the biggest storyline in women's sports. This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about shaping the narrative of the entire league. The WNBA needs her back on the court because, quite frankly, they can't afford to keep their biggest star sidelined. The spotlight is already on Clark, And when she returns, the whole world will be watching. But here's the kicker. The Fever are walking a fine line. If they rush her back and she's not ready, the backlash could be catastrophic. Indiana has been down this road before, trying to make a quick fix without a long-term plan. If they handle this return wrong, the fallout could extend far beyond their own team, affecting the league's credibility and fans' trust. With everything riding on Clark's return, the Fever have to get it right. This is bigger than a game. It's a defining moment for the future of the WNBA. When Caitlyn Clark finally steps back onto the court, it won't just be a turning point for the Indiana Fever. It will be a seismic shift for the entire WNBA. The stakes are higher than ever, and every move the Fever make right now is building up to this moment. The excitement around Clark's potential return is palpable, but the real question is, can Indiana pull this off, or will the pressure implode under the weight of expectations? The Fever's front office knows that they're not just bringing a player back, they're bringing back the face of the league. The spotlight will shine brighter than ever before, and with that comes both opportunity and risk. If Clark returns and immediately delivers, she could be the spark that propels the Fever into a deep playoff run. But if the timing's off, or if she's rushed back too soon, it could throw the entire team and the league into chaos. This return is bigger than just basketball. The WNBA has been fighting for mainstream recognition, and Caitlyn Clark is the one player who can help make that leap. With her back in action, the media attention will explode, social media will buzz, and fans will be glued to every game, hoping for a glimpse of her magic. But let's not forget, the league has become overly reliant on her star power. If the Fever mismanage this moment, it could expose just how fragile the WNBA's popularity really is. And then there's the timing. The Fever are facing an absolutely brutal schedule in the coming weeks. Minnesota twice, Seattle, the Sparks, Phoenix, and more. If they're going to make it through this stretch and keep their playoff hopes alive, they need Clark on the floor. But is throwing her into that kind of fire the right call? The pressure of this decision is immense, and if they get it wrong, it could haunt them long after the season ends. Caitlyn Clark's return isn't just a game changer. It's the WNBA's biggest storyline, and everyone is watching. The Fever are on the clock, and how they handle this moment will define their future. So, get ready for the biggest show in women's basketball to return, because when Caitlyn Clark steps back into the spotlight, the entire league will feel the impact. As we wrap up, one thing is clear. The Indiana Fever's decision to release Kyra Lambert isn't just a roster move. It's the beginning of something much bigger. Caitlyn Clark's return is no longer just a possibility. It's the game-changing moment the WNBA has been waiting for. The stakes are higher than ever, not just for the Fever, but for the future of the league itself. Every team in the WNBA is watching closely, adjusting their strategies, and bracing for the impact of her return. For Indiana, it's a do-or-die situation. They know they can't afford to waste another season without their star player on the court, and if they get this right, it could be the push they need to make a deep playoff run. But with that kind of pressure, every decision counts, and one wrong move could undo everything. So, whether you're a diehard Fever fan or just a casual observer, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Caitlyn Clark isn't just a player, she's a cultural icon, and her return will shake the WNBA to its core. The question is, will Indiana handle this pivotal moment with the care it deserves, or will they crumble under the weight of expectations? Either way, it's going to be a wild ride, and you won't want to miss it.